Yo, this is Caleb Jones, and this is the Alpha Male 2.0 podcast. Yep, reminds me of a thing I saw a few days ago. I watched a Beavis and Butthead thing, little clip, and they were in a gymnasium, and this is like, 90s, and Beavis grabs the microphone, and he goes, Beavis is in the house, biatch. And I remember how funny that shit was, 25 years ago. Those were the days. In Alpha Male 2.0, particularly The Unchained Man, my primary book, that's at alphamalebook.com, I talk about the SLA, or the 7 life areas, and those are the 7 areas in which you spend your time. And just about everything you do in your life falls into one of these 7 categories. And really quick, if you're curious, it is your financial life, your physical life, your woman life, your family life, your recreational life, your social life, and your spiritual life. All right, so what if I could give you a skill, or more accurately, help you learn a particular skill, where if you learned this one skill and got decent at this skill, you don't have to be a master at this skill, but if you got decent at it, it would actually help all 7 of those areas of your life. All of them. There aren't very many skills in life like this. Usually, most skills are good at one of those areas. Business skills, right? It's good at business. Is it going to help you, lose weight? Probably not. Does it help you get laid? Maybe, but probably not, right? So most skills are particular to the individual area in which they apply. But there is one skill that applies to all of the areas of your life. And if you get good at it, it actually enhances your entire life across the board. As a matter of fact, this skill is so important and so pivotal that many years ago in my consulting practice, when I made the decision to move away from computer and IT consulting to something different in the business sector, and I had to figure out what that would be, I chose this skill to specialize in because I knew how powerful this skill was and is. This skill is actually what they call a leverage skill. Whereas if you learn this skill, it leverages multiple other skills in your life. And in terms of this particular skill, as I said, all the other areas of your life, all of them, your entire life. And that skill is, of course, time management. The ability to manage your time, more specifically, the ability to manage yourself, to make the best use of your time on a day-to-day basis and a week-to-week basis, is the single most comprehensive skill in terms of the rest of your life. I built my entire consulting practice around this one skill because I knew if I had mastered this skill, and I had pretty well mastered it by then, all kinds of things could occur in my life, in all the areas of my life, all of which would be positive. My family life, my recreational life, my travel, my businesses, my dating and relationship life, my health and physical fitness, all these things would be improved by me learning and getting really good at this one skill. That's why, in The Unchained Man, my most important book that I have ever written in my entire life, and probably ever will write, that is the only skill to which I devote an entire chapter to. How to manage your time, time management. And I have much more to say about this. At some point, I may put out some kind of time management product, something like that. I don't know. But this skill is so important that it should be one of the skills that you should set a goal to get good at. And again, you don't have to be some kind of time management wizard. You don't have to be some time management master. You don't have to be some time management nerd like I am, where I just, I obsess about my time. I track literally every minute of my entire workday with timers and things like that are categorized into spreadsheets, including right now. I'm timing this right now as I'm doing this. You don't have to go to that level. That's fine. But you do need to get decent at this, at managing your time. One of the many reasons that the typical man today is such a tub of shit, is such a loser, such a pile of shit, is such a beta male, is because they don't know how to manage their time. They don't even bother to manage their time. If they have a job, they just go to work because they have to. And the only reason they get up early and go to work is because if they don't, they'll get fired. So they kind of feel compelled to do this. They feel coerced to do this. Then they just go home and they let all kinds of external forces move on them instead of them determining how they spend their time. So the married guy, the typical married guy, right? He goes home, and what does he do? It's kind of, his agenda is kind of set by his wife. Okay, now it's dinner time. Okay, now we'll watch TV with the kids. Okay, now we'll help the kids with their homework. Okay, now it's time to get ready for bed. Even alpha males who are in traditional monogamous marriage don't realize how quickly their wives kind of take over their time. This is very, very common. And by the time they realize that it's too late, they've woken up and they've become a beta male because they don't manage their time. Guys who don't have jobs, guys who have their own businesses or don't work or try to start their own businesses. They get up and they futz around with their email, and then they go on YouTube and social media and they blink and suddenly it's been 3 hours and they wasted all this fucking time. Or they play a video game and they blink and it's been 6 hours. They've wasted all this time. They have no time management ability. They have no time management skill. They never sat down and made the decision to get good at this. And when you get good at this, and when you get into the habit of actually utilizing this skill on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis, as I said, and I'm going to keep repeating this throughout this podcast, all aspects of your entire life improve just by getting this one thing down. That's why I focus so much time and effort on my own time management. That's why I regularly remind you guys in my audience about time management as a key foundational skill of your life, certainly of the Alpha Male 2.0. That's why every time I put out the overarching comprehensive Alpha Male 2.0 stuff, like the Unchained Man book, like the Maximum Freedom online course, I always include in there a time management piece because it is so critical to your success in all of the areas of life. And more importantly, it makes success, or at least accomplishing the things that you want, because success is such an overused word, accomplishing the things that you want in those areas in which you consider important, it makes it easier to get those things done. It makes it, because I'm very good at my time management, because I'm very good at that skill, it makes my sex life and my dating life and my relationship life, including my married life to Pink Firefly, easier. It makes my business life, making a high six-figure income, managing multiple companies, easier. These things would be very, very difficult if I wasn't good at time management. Even frankly, in my case, because I have such a full life, even if I was mediocre at time management, these things would be much more difficult. My 5 flags stuff, the fact that I haven't gained any weight as I've gotten older, I've lost weight. I mean, all these things would have been very, very difficult, in some cases impossible, if I wasn't decently good at time management. That's how important this skill is. And I don't think we talk enough about this. And I don't think society discusses this enough. You don't really have time management courses in school, even in college, even in MBA curriculums. They don't have this stuff. They just don't. And it's stupid. It's so dumb. You've got to learn this stuff. Even if you just use a to-do list. Let's start with that real quick. By the way, this podcast is not a time management course. I'll cover some basics. This is more a motivating factor to get you to learn this stuff and get good at this stuff, because time management is a pretty big topic. It's more than I can fit in a quick podcast like this. But even just doing a to-do list, I've said this before. They've done studies on this. Men who start using a to-do list and change nothing else. So you make a to-do list in the morning, you write down these to-do items, and that's all you do. You change literally nothing else about your behavior. Your productivity increases by an average of 27%. Just by writing a to-do list, if you've never done that before. And doing nothing else, if you're just a time management newbie. So just writing a to-do list, 27% increase in productivity, that's a lot. Imagine if you got a 27% raise in your job or your business tomorrow morning. That's a lot. And that's actually what you're talking about, especially if you're self-employed, even if you have an Alpha 2.0 business on the side. That's really good stuff. Just have a fucking to-do list. Sometimes guys like me will talk about time management, and guys, they'll nod their head and go, yeah, it's important. But then as you overview some basics, their eyes glass over because they think time management is this big, giant, complicated fucking thing. And it can get complicated. What I do is a little complicated compared to what most men are willing to do. That's because I try to be the example in this stuff. I'm a time management consultant. I have a very full life. I want to be very, very on point with my time management. But again, I'm an extreme example, but you don't have to be. You just need to get decent at this. Just doing a goddamn to-do list the morning of. Now, actually, that's the worst way to do a to-do list. But even if you do the to-do list in the worst way possible, which is you do one in the morning when you sit down and you write out a to-do list for the day, which is the worst way to do it, 27% increase in productivity. Now, if you want to jack that up a little bit by making one little change, you make your to-do list the night before. Or at least the end of your business day, the end of your work day, the very end of your work day, you make a to-do list for the very next morning. That's way more effective. And the reason for that is what most people do, and the reason a lot of people are ineffective at work, are very inefficient, is they sit down at their desks in their cubicle and their corporate job or even if they work out of their home, they have their own business, even if it's an Alpha 2.0 business, they sit out their desk in the morning or whenever they fucking wake up, and they have to sit down and figure out what to do. They have to figure out what to do, which is very inefficient. You should sit down and immediately start working. Or, in other cases, they sit down and operate based on habit. They sit down and the first thing they do is they check their email, right? That's a habit they've had. Oh, I better check my email. Boom, boom, boom. Or they check their social media, all their social media accounts. Boom, boom, boom. They check that very first thing. And they don't do that based on a plan or based on any measurement of effectiveness or efficiency. They just do it because that is the thing that calls to them, is your email. That's the thing that calls to you. Writing that book, doing that podcast, starting that Alpha 2.0 business, researching new products to sell, whatever IW type work you have to improve your income, that stuff doesn't call to you. That stuff you have to move on yourself. See how this works? So that's what most people do. So if you just make a to-do list the night before you go to bed, or when you're ending your workday, whenever that is for you, make a to-do list for the next morning, slap it on your desk, or put it right there on your screen where you literally see it first thing when you sit down at your computer. Either one, doesn't really matter. That alone will increase your productivity more than 27%, because then you're sitting down and you're actually getting into what they call right action right off the bat. You're not fucking around. You're not wasting time checking your email or doing low productivity tasks or trying to figure out what to do, which is fucking stupid. Every time I start my workday, I know exactly what I'm doing, and I operate based on a very specific plan. I have a very specific to-do list of items the very first thing I do when I sit down and work. And I have it's the same set of to-do lists I do every morning. So it's something I've memorized now. I do it in order. And that takes me about 20 to 40 minutes, depending on the morning, to get that stuff done. And then I operate based on a to-do list. And I use Microsoft Excel. I use spreadsheets for my to-do lists, but you can use any system you want. And I'm constantly operating on a list. Constantly. I have a project list of the various projects that I'm working on, sorted by order and sequence and priority. They're not just a big giant list of projects. They're sorted a certain way. I operate under a daily to-do list that I'm constantly operating under. I operate under a weekly to-do list, things I've got to get done during the week. When I have blocks of time set aside for certain things I need to do, for example, creating content, like for my social media. This is an example. This is a podcast I am recording, and I have a day. This is what I do, is I have one day a week, usually it's Thursdays, called Content Day. And it's a big block in my schedule, and I color it blue. I'm color-coded on my calendars. And again, you don't have to be this complicated if you don't want to. I'm just giving you an example of what I do. It's color-coded blue, Content Day. And when I do Content Day, I click over to yet another list. I have an entire list of videos I want to do for YouTube, podcast topics I want to do for podcasts, blog posts, topics I want to write, newsletters for my email news list that I want to create. I have a topic list. And then I have a schedule that shows little holes of exactly what piece of content needs to go where. So at a glance, for my Content Day, I know exactly what I need to do and the topic of those items. I'll sit down and maybe it'll say, okay, Caleb, for this Content Day, you need to do 4 YouTube videos. Here are the 4 you need to do. Here are the topics you need to do. You need to do 2 podcasts for the Alpha Male 2.0 podcast. Here's the topic. You need to do 1 audio training for the SMIC program, which are much more in-depth than these podcasts, but you got to pay for those. You have to proof these newsletters for your email list, and here's the numbers, and here's the issue numbers. It's all laid out for me in a list. I don't have to sit down and go, okay, what do I do today? What should I guess I do a YouTube video. Let's see, what topic should, let's see. I don't waste any of that time. It's already done for me. I get that stuff done in advance. I don't fuck around. I don't waste time. I am extremely efficient. I am also very effective. There's a difference between effectiveness and efficiency. And I am both. I run 3 companies. I kind of have to be. I don't have an option. I can't be disorganized. And I don't want to work, fucking 80, 90 hours a week. I really don't want to do that the rest of my life. I don't want to do it now. I don't. I work hard, but I don't work those kinds of hours. I don't need to because I'm organized. By the way, this is not just in my business life, although that's where it's most prevalent, obviously. My time management is most prevalent in my business life. But in my woman life, I do this. In my woman life, I have a calendar schedule of when I'm seeing which FBs when. I have a spreadsheet. And again, you don't have to be this nerdy if you don't want to. Most of you are probably not dating as many multiple women as I have or have as many FBs as I have and so on. But I have a schedule where I know exactly the times over the next 7 days of when I'm going to spend with my wife, Pink Firefly. I also have a separate schedule of when I'm going to see my FBs and which FBs they are. I also have a spreadsheet that shows historical data on which FBs I've seen and which FBs I'm going to see, so I don't see one FB too many times in a row. I kind of spread them all out so they all get an equal amount of my time. I actually do this. I operate based on a plan. I know exactly when I'm going to see them, approximately how long I'm going to see them, what we're going to do when we see each other, which when my FBs is pretty obvious, we're going to have sex. But I did this prior to Pink Firefly where I had MLTRs. I was dating women and I had specific schedules of what nights I would see which women and what we would go do. As of this recording, a video on YouTube and Instagram on social media went viral from Tommy Lauren bitching about men. And one of the many things that she was complaining about, some of her complaints were insane, but some of them were true. And one of the complaints she made about men that is correct is she's like, you guys have to have a plan. Don't just fucking hit me up at 7 p.m. and say, hey, want to hang out? That's insulting. That's stupid. Well, she's right. Men are fucking stupid about this. They don't have any time management skills in their woman lives, not even in their business lives. I never have that problem. Do you think a woman has ever complained to me about how I didn't have an agenda and didn't have a plan and was insulting her? But do you think I've ever texted a woman and said, hey, you want to hang out tonight? Now I have done that, but it's very rare. And I don't expect a result. And I'm very polite when I do it. Hey, you're probably busy, but that's a very bizarre exception for me. All of this stuff is planned out for me in detail. Again, in my woman life, I am very effective. I am very efficient. I don't waste time. By the way, that also means I don't waste other people's time. I don't waste women's time. I don't waste my wife's time. When I was dating in an MLTR world for many years, I didn't waste their time either. When I work with my clients, my customers, my staff, my employees, they're not real employees, so I call them employees. My vendors, when I work with these people, I don't waste their time because I'm very on it. I'm effective. I'm efficient. When we have meetings, I'm boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Do you need anything else from me? Great. Goodbye. On to the next thing. I don't fuck around. I don't waste other people's time. Do you think that anyone in my business career has ever said about me, oh man, Caleb just wasted my time? I mean, he just went on and on about stupid shit and he was so disorganized. Never, not once, because I'm organized, because I have strong time management skills and I actually practice these skills. So not only are you a good thing for yourself, you guys who are more altruistic, you are doing good for the world and other people in your circle when you are very good at time management. Everyone benefits. By the way, if you are like me and you have a business where you're working with other people under you, employees, subcontractors, what have you, you want them to be efficient, don't you? You don't want to waste their time, especially when you're paying them by the hour. Are you fucking kidding? No. So you don't want to waste their time either. So the more efficient you become, the more efficient they become, at least somewhat. You're also a role model for these people, and they, to a degree, I mean, I fuck up all the time, but you know what I mean. If you work with them often, hopefully some of this will rub off on them, or you can even implement systems into your business. The people who you're working with closely, have them operate under time management principles, time management skills, and have them do it as well. Now, a lot of you listening to this podcast aren't there yet, and that's fine, but you get my point. One of the many reasons that I have not gotten fatter as I've gotten older, and I would say 60% plus of the men I know my age who I've known for a long time can't say that. These men have gotten bigger and fatter and softer as they got older, weaker muscles, fatter bodies as they've gotten older. I have gotten leaner as I've gotten older and gotten bigger muscles as I've gotten older. And one of the primary reasons for this is not because I'm this great physical fitness guy. Clearly I'm not. It's because I have strong time management skills. I exercise, as of right now, 7 days a week. I've jacked up to 7 days a week. I exercise consistently. I wouldn't be able to do that if I was shitty at time management. Trust me, I would not be able to pull that off if I was not good at time management. Plugging in that time every day to make sure I get exercise done every day. A big part of dieting and keeping my calories under control. A big reason for that. Matter of fact, I would say 40% of that, the reason I've been able to pull that off, where other men I know have not, many people in my family certainly have not. I have people in my family who are morbidly obese. The reason is because I'm good at time management. I'm good at planning out when I need to eat, what I need to eat, what time of the day, what is the food that I need to have available in my refrigerator, in my kitchen to make sure I eat this way. When I travel, where am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? If I didn't have any time management skills, these would be very difficult to pull off. These things I'm talking about in terms of nutrition and things like that would be really difficult. Not impossible, but really, really, really hard. All of this success and all of this goodness stems from my time management ability. You've got to learn how to get decent at time management. And if you want some basics to get started, I'll give you the basics. First of all, first thing, top of the list is a to-do list, obviously. Get that done. A daily to-do list, ideally done the day before or the night before. The second thing is weekly planning, sitting down once a week and planning out your week. Or if you prefer, using my E3D system, if you've read The Unchained Man, that's where you plan every 3 days. So every 3 days, you come to a complete stop, you stop everything, you pull out your systems, your spreadsheets or whatever. You can use any system you want for this. You can use Trello, spreadsheets, paper, an app on your phone. It doesn't matter. Whatever turns you on, whatever you relate to the best, because every guy's different about this. You come to a complete stop and you plan out the next 3 days in detail, or the next 4 days, or the next 5 days, or the next 7. You can do E3D. That means every 3 days. You can do E7D. You can do E40. I don't care. But the point is, in speaking generically, especially if you've never read that book, plan it out once a week. Sit down once a week. Sunday night is a great time to do this. Friday afternoon sometimes, Saturday mornings. Every guy's different. Pick a time every week or every 2 days. You stop and you plan out the next week. What do you want to accomplish? What are 1 or 2 or 3 things you want to get done by the end of the week, or things you want to accomplish by the end of the week? And then you plan out your week. You block out your time. In my dating materials, I've talked about how important it is to block off your dating time. So if you're going to do online dating, the best time of the week to do that is Sunday evening. So maybe you block out Sunday evening, 2 hours for that, an hour or 2 Monday night, take Tuesday night off, another hour Wednesday night, and so on. You block off 3 or 4 times throughout the week. If you're doing, you day game guys should be blocking that time off. Then you block off time for your Alpha 2.0 business, especially if you have a job and you're starting a side hustle on the side. You're starting your Alpha 2.0 business on the side, which is what I did a bazillion years ago. Block off time. When are you going to work on it? And then not just when you're going to work on it, but what are you going to do? Just like I talked about, I have blocks in my calendar, but if I click those blocks, they bring up a specific list of things I'm going to do during that time, or a link to that list, or the name of an Excel spreadsheet that has the list. So I can say, oh, okay, today's content day. Click. Here's all the content I need to create. When did I create these magical lists for what YouTube videos and podcasts? The week before, when I sat down and planned the week. See how this all works? Weekly planning. That's the next thing. Very, very important. Last thing, third thing in terms of basics is to stack your tasks, to bunch your tasks. So the way this works is you are more effective if you do the same task repetitively in a row. For example, you are much more effective if you check your email once a day, burn through your entire inbox, and then don't look at it again for the next 24 hours. You are a moron and you are very ineffective if you're checking your email 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, like most stupid humans. That is ridiculous. That is very stupid. I check my email once a day, and the vast majority of that email I don't respond to for several days, unless it's a Monday. Monday is kind of my SW day. I call it my buffer day. That's where I check my email and I clear out my entire inbox. The rest of the week, I check my email as part of my morning procedures. Not the first thing I do, but it's about the third or fourth thing I do. And I just respond to urgent emails. The rest I leave in there and I take care of those the following Monday. And then I don't look at my email for the rest of the day. I'm busy focused on high productivity, high value tasks. I stack this stuff. If I need to make phone calls, there's several phone calls I need to make. I don't call Larry at 10 o'clock in the morning and then Jennifer at 1 p.m. and then Frank at 4 p.m. That's fucking stupid. I sit down and I block out some time and I do all my phone calls. I sit on my phone and I just crank out phone numbers. If I have 4 or 5 phone calls to make, which I don't really have to do these days, but sometimes I do all my phone calls all at once. I've talked about years ago, I talked about when I used to check my snail mail. Today it's all done electronically. I actually have my mail sent to a service that scans it for me automatically. It's wonderful. It's called Earth Class Mail. But before that, I would check my mail once a month. Once a month, my mail now, my snail mail in my mailbox. I would go to my mailbox with a big box. I used to do this for years. It was great. Go to my mailbox with a big box, pull out all the mail, put it in the big box. Most would be junk mail. I would go back in. I would set it down. I would go through the entire stack throughout the junk mail. I'd have one of those letter openers in my hand, and I would take all my envelopes that were not junk mail, put them in a nice neat little pile, take my letter opener and go slice, 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 pull out all the mails, throw out all the envelopes, go through each mail, and I had a whole system for either filing it, taking action on it, or shredding it. Boom, 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 done. I do that once a month. So it was a big pile of snail mail once a month. Fine. Stupid people check their mail every day. Totally inefficient. So you want to bunch all of your tasks, and you have lots of tasks that you typically do throughout the week that you are probably not bunching. You're probably just doing them sporadically throughout the day. Even responding, in my case, responding to things like on social media and comments on my blogs. I do that once a day. On a heavy day, I will do it twice. So I'll do it once in the morning, and if I have to, if there's a really heavy activity day, I might do it again at 3 p.m. Maybe, usually not. And that's it. I don't look at my social media for the rest of the day until the next day. I don't obsess and keep checking it on my stupid phone like most stupid humans. See how this works? So those are 3 things you can use to get started: is a to-do list, weekly planning, and bunching your tasks. Regardless of what you decide to do, if you have not yet read my book, The Unchained Man, I strongly recommend it. It's only $7. It's over 400 pages. It is the most important book I have ever written. I strongly recommend that. There's an entire chapter there on more detailed time management techniques. If you don't want to do that, use someone else's time management system, but get good at time management. It is the single most important skill. Almost. I mean, I have to think about that for a minute. Maybe not. Maybe there's some other skills you could think of that are better than this. But in terms of comprehensive success levels throughout all the different aspects of your life, no other one skill beats time management. Time management is where it's at. You've got to learn how to do this and get at least decent at it. Not amazing at it. You want to be at my level if you don't want to, but you got to be decent at it. Please, please do this. We have numerous time management trainings and resources at the SMIC program at joinsmic.com. Take a look at that. Otherwise, I will see you very soon. Have fun. Bye.